Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Sorry I'm a bit late. I was at the gym. Pumping some iron. You on? Yeah, you're on. Pumping some iron. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Phew. Boy, oh boyski. Boy, oh boyski. Morning, Dread. Dread, new episode of AMX Kids comes out today, buddy. I think you're gonna like it. Yeah, let's Fred up. Let's Fred up. Larry, welcome, my friend. I think I'm singing Lil Kim. It might be Lil Kim this morning. I don't know why. Okay, where are we at here? Okay, you ready to rock and roll? Today starts a good one. Today starts a great one. Today starts an exciting one. One book in which, of which, I'm extremely excited to talk about this book. You can see the cheers on my teeth, on my pearly white teeth, shining bright from the light right there. Shine bright like a diamond. Oh boy, Dread, I'm really glad you told me to man up 3 weeks and 2 days ago, because I really enjoy this getting up. Ironclad, 5'10", boom, get out of bed. You know who I used to hear? I used to hear Dave Burke in my head, saying, who else is going to bother you at 4:30 in the morning? But now you guess who I hear, Dread? I hear you, Dread, saying, just man up, dude. Man up. I think you just need to man up. The simple words of Dread. Dread, I don't know if we're going to wrap Won't You Be My Neighbor, because if there's any youngsters listening, cover your ears right now. When I just envisioned doing that, again, I'm going to use a term here that's a little bit... I got douche chills, okay? I got chills that were not the good kind of chills. They were the kind of chills that are not chills. The kind of chills you get from, like, imagining yourself doing something and then being embarrassed of just that imagination. So I don't know if I'm going to do that, Dread. But, I'm not going to say never. Never say never. Ah, boy. I'm really excited. I almost don't want to start, because the sooner I start, the sooner we're going to be done with this. Granted, I'm going to spend approximately 15 AMXs on this book, but so good. It is so good. This is good. Sorry, I'm just... All right, let's go after it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. This is AM Excellence 597, and today we start a new book, and we start a special book. And before I give you the title of the book that I'm reading and studying now, I want to do a little throwback. So I'm going to say it was a year and a half, Dread. You can correct me later on. I believe Dread and I were sitting at a sheets and we were brainstorming. This is a long time ago. This is, into the podcast, but not too far along, not too far developed. And Dread said, you know what? You're kind of like a modern day Mr. Rogers. And at first I laughed and I thought of this old cardigan wearing guy and thought, what do I have in common with Mr. Rogers? And then just organically, through time, through evolution, through attempts, through experiences, raised up this world's toughest lifelong learner. Mr. Rogers is about education. He specifically addresses early childhood education, but we are about, the Spaniard Show, the world's toughest lifelong learner, we are about continued lifelong education. So that, my friends, is where it came from, and that will lead us into The Good Neighbor, the life and work of Fred Rogers. So this is coming straight from the book. Quote, to Fred Rogers, every child required special attention, because every child needed assurance that he or she was someone who mattered. Kindness, listen, kindness and empathetic outreach had motivated Rogers since he was a sickly, chubby boy himself whose classmates in industrial Latrobe, or Latrobe, as they say, Pennsylvania, called him Fat Freddy and chased him home from school. So we're getting a little bit of background on Mr. Rogers. He was a sickly, chubby boy himself. His friends called him, or not his friends, his classmates called him Fat Freddy and chased him from the school. Now, as I'm reading this, I'm processing it. And I'm thinking, wow, he was experiencing adversity as a youth. And as I continued to read the book, I thought, wow, he really did not have it easy in terms of social integration, in terms of getting along with others, in terms of he was a loner because he was interested in things that were different from other people. And that made me think of the quote that I often recite of his, that one of the greatest gifts you can give anybody is the gift of your honest self. That's exactly what Mr. Rogers is about. Now, let's dive into that. We take note that he was bullied. We take note that his classmates and the kids in his neighborhood community called him Fat Freddy and chased him home from school. This is a perfect example. My favorite thing is when this book connects to that book without any notice. It just, boom, smacks me in the side of the face. This is a perfect example of E plus R plus O. Event plus response equals outcome. Mr. Rogers was growing up in this environment that was not user-friendly, right? But it was the event, a not user-friendly environment, plus his response to it, and we'll talk more and more about that, how exactly he did it, but that equals his outcome, the fact that I'm reading and studying, the fact that you know Mr. Rogers. And I want to throw this out there. Yesterday I learned of the origin of Daniel Tiger. Now, I have 2 kids, and I love my kids more than anything in the world, and they watch Daniel Tiger, and I sing Daniel Tiger along with them. But then to learn, this is the power of learning. This is the beauty of books, and this is why I'm so stinking engulfed in books as a ginormous part of my life. I learned yesterday where Daniel Tiger came from. And when something is so connected to my kids, and then I learned the origin of it, to me, that's what it's all about. There's nothing more about it other than that. This thing, Daniel Tiger, is so important to my kids, and now I know how it started. That if it wouldn't have started this way, Daniel Tiger in my house outside of Harrisburg, PA, wouldn't be a vital part of my kids' lives. To me, that's something special, and to be able to learn about that, have that opportunity through these books, is even more special. So this simple and pure idea of goodness and kindness drove Mr. Rogers. Now look, there's a lot of not good out there. Right? There's a lot of not good. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad people. I'm going to even say there's a lot of not smart people out there. People doing things that make you say, what are you doing? What are you thinking? But this simple and pure idea of goodness and kindness drove Mr. Rogers. He says, quote, when I was a boy, I would see scary things in the news. My mother would say to me, now listen, put it on slow speed, rewind it, listen. Quote, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. To this day, I remember my mother's words, and I am always comforted by realizing that there are still so many helpers, so many caring people in this world. Who doesn't need to hear this message? Who shouldn't read this book, The Good Neighbor, The Life and Work of Fred Rogers? Every single person in the universe should read this book. It was that simple and pure idea of goodness and kindness that drove him. How much bad is there in the world? A lot. And if you watch the news incessantly, that's all you're going to see, and that's all you're after. But then how much good is there? Well, if you start looking, you're going to find it. Trust me. If there are people, there's a person, there's a situation in your life in which you think, this is so terrible, change the way you look at that thing. Change the way you look at that instance. Change the way you look at that experience. Look for some snippet of good in that thing or in that experience or in that situation, and you will start to find, hey, there's more good. Going back to the success principles, the law of attraction, right? What you think about, you'll bring about. So ask yourself, am I looking for the good? Am I looking for the helpers? Or am I just seeing the bad? And then ask yourself, am I being a helper? Is there a bad situation in which I can help? They go on in the book to say this, quote, the key to the success of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I'm literally shaking my head because of how stinking good this is. Key to the success of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood was Rogers' iron insistence upon meeting the highest standards without qualification. Remember that saying, one of the first sayings that I ever learned when I gave a speech? We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Be careful how you fight your fights, for they will determine how you live your life. Key to the success of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was Rogers' iron insistence upon meeting the highest standards, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, as Rocky says. So Mr. Rogers drove home these basic human values. And in the book, there's a couple different groups that they list. But those human values, those basic human values, integrity, respect, responsibility, fairness, compassion, and of course, kindness. And at the front of the book, I posted this on Instagram the other day. On the front of the book, there's a short little quip that says this by Mr. Rogers, quote, "There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. And the third way, you guessed it, my friends, is to be kind." Remember those basic human values. Pick one of these human values and live it today. Integrity, respect, responsibility, fairness, compassion, and or kindness. Pick one and run with it, my friends. Don't run too far, because we're going to be back tomorrow with AMX 598. I absolutely love the flow of this book. Again, it's a book that every single one of you should read. The Good Neighbor, The Life and Work of Fred Rogers. You can get this book and every other book at charliespaniard.com/reading list. And Dred and I even have an idea in the works. I'm reading this book. I'm taking so much inspiration. Mr. Rogers is a model after whom I'm building my career. And Dred and I have this little idea of recording a show, an educational show, a lifelong learning show, and quite possibly using this book as the first pilot episode. Stay tuned, my friends, at Charlie Spaniard on social media. Go read a book. See ya. That's it, Dred. We're going to record a pilot episode, my friend. A pilot episode. Who are we to record a pilot episode? I don't know, and I don't care. In the book, they talk about the origin of public broadcasting, well, television in general, not just public broadcasting, but television, and how it was new. And they said no one knew what they were doing. No one knew what they were doing. They were just figuring it out as they went. So then I'm thinking to myself, all right, Dred, let's just figure it out. Let's hire a cameraman. Let's find a spot. Let's record. Hopefully. I don't even care. I was going to say hopefully people show up. I hope they do, but if they don't, whatever. We're just going to bulldoze right through it. Mrs. Beecham, I would read all of your message, except I can't right now. So I'll have to respond to it in a little bit, because if I hit the button, it's going to not let me see. It says see more, but if I hit see more, I can't see more. I don't even know why. Thank you for your participation. Mrs. Beauchamp. Pritch, good to see you. Dred, good to see you. Everyone else, good to see you. This is a really powerful book, my friends. It's a long book. It's a significant investment of my time, because I am not a fast reader, but I don't care, because it is magic and gold. That's it, my friends. I'll see you on the flip side. The flip side being tomorrow. Don't forget, today comes out AMX Kids 18, Where the Red Fern Grows. It's awesome. Oh, I got a new Timex Ironman watch. Do you like it? It's a black one. It's all black. It's pretty tough looking. I like it. I like it. My brain will be so swole, dude. Dennis, it's like my head will get even bigger. I think my hair and my head can get bigger. I don't know. Anyhow, see you all tomorrow with AMX 590 something. See. Oh, Friday's AMX 600. Remember when it was AMX, this is AMX 300. Remember that? It seems like just yesterday.